Hello viewers, yes, this is Ranjana ma'am and you are watching yours as well as my channel. And yes, I know the thumbnail says it all. So this poem is for my ICSE students. The name of the poem, A Work of Artifice. I have seen many people pronounce it as Artifice. Even in YouTube videos also, some of them have come to my observation, or rather my subscribers have pointed it out, that it is not, actually they are pronouncing it wrong. It's not Artifice. English pronunciation can be very tricky. So, a work of artifice. And even the name of the poet or poetess, you can say, but rather nowadays we don't go for this gender discrimination. So, female poet or just a poet. Her name also phonetically is not what we expect it to be. So, her name is Marge, M-A-R-G-E, Marge. So, some of you must be pronouncing it as Marge or Marge. No, it's not that. It's Marge Piercy. Marge, M-A-A-J, Marge Piercy. So, the poem which she has written here has been written on two levels. That means one on the superficial level and another deep rooted. There is a deep rooted theme also running parallel to this, side by side with the one on the superficial level. So, let's read to find out the two levels. The bonsai tree in the attractive pot could have grown 80 feet tall on the side of a mountain till split by lightning. Do you know what a bonsai plant is? Many, I'm sure all of you must be knowing, if not majority must be knowing. So when trees, they are pruned, their growth is stunted and the whole tree grows in a pot. So the tree is as if what we say a dwarf. Dwarf is also a human being, fully grown human being, but the size is small. So the big tree made into a dwarf. No, just cutting the branches doesn't make it a dwarf. There are methods and a gardener knows the method. So people use these type of methods to stunt the growth of the tree so that it can grow in a pot. So this, don't you think this is an injustice to the tree? Forcibly made it in the made it to the size of a dwarf, whereas it could have grown to great heights. If it had been allowed to grow in its natural surroundings, it would have grown maybe 80 feet high and remained there till a lightning brought about its end. It would have remained there. But what has been done? It has been uprooted from there and put in a pot, and then yes, it has been made into a bonsai tree. So the bonsai tree, and yes, this is to make it look attractive. The gardener must be telling the plant, I'll make you look attractive. Who will look at you in that mountainous region? Rather, everyone will come and admire you. So the bonsai tree in the attractive pot could have grown 80 feet tall had it been allowed to grow in its natural surroundings. In the mountains, it would have grown to that height. But what happened? No. Till split by lightning. So till it met its death on account of lightning, it would have remained there. But what happened? But a gardener carefully pruned it. So the gardener did the trick, he did the magic, and the tree became a dwarf tree. It remained in a very small height and grew in a pot. The whole tree in a pot. And how tall is it? It is 9 inches high. whereas its natural growth 80 feet, and now it's not even 1 foot, 3/4 of a foot, 9 inches high. I feel it's a great injustice done to the tree. Every day, so who's the culprit? Who's responsible for all this? The gardener. And he must be feeling very proud of his work. See what a masterpiece I have made. That big tree, I have made it a dwarf tree, and it is now growing in a pot. He must be feeling proud of his achievement. Yeah, bonsai is not an easy job. Very carefully it has to be handled and then done. So every day as he whittles back the branches, the gardener croons. What does the gardener croon? What does the gardener sing to the tree? Every day while cleaning the waste, the leaves which have fallen and all that, while killing the tree, what does the gardener do? The gardener keeps on singing to the tree. What does it sing? It is your nature to be small and cozy, domestic and weak. How lucky, little tree, to have a pot to grow in. So this is a sort of brainwashing. You uproot the tree from its natural habitat, put it in a pot, turn it into a dwarf tree, and then what are you doing? You are singing to the tree and continuing your brainwashing talks that yes, it is your nature to be small and cozy. Yeah, it is your nature that you should be small because it is a bonsai tree. You should be small and be comfortable here. Yes, you are so lucky, you are so fortunate that you can grow in a pot. You have a pot to grow in, or kept in the drawing room or in the garden for people to come and observe you. You are lucky. Who would have looked at you in the forest, in the mountains? With living creatures, one must begin very early to dwarf their growth. Now comes the real thing. With living creatures, try to make their growth restricted or stunted. Don't allow them to grow to their full height. Then you won't be able to take control over them. In order to keep living things under control, don't allow them to grow to their natural height. Suppress their growth, stunt their growth. One must begin very early to dwarf their growth. The bound feet, the crippled brain, hair in curlers, the hands you love to touch. So how to dwarf the growth of living beings? Putting curlers to their hair. Yes, curly hair makes you look very beautiful. Curl your hair. People will admire you because of your lovely curly hair. And then yes, I'm not sure where. It may be in Japan or maybe in China. I had read earlier also. Here it is just the same thing, that the girls were made to wear very tight fitting shoes so that their feet would not grow, feet would not develop to its natural size. Why? There was one reason. Another reason I had read, so that they wouldn't be able to walk fast, so that they wouldn't be able to run away from their homes, so that they wouldn't do something which would bring a bad name to the family. So if the trees, if the feet, they are bound, okay, so then yes, it is good. The girls, their foot not allowed to grow to its natural size, so that they wouldn't be able to run away, so that they wouldn't be able to go outdoors. Indoors is the best place for them. Like for the bonsai tree, the pot is the best place for them to grow. So parallel, side by side with the tree, the human beings, especially women, are also being referred. The gardener could be, in a patriarchal society, the gardener could be the father in her childhood, and as she grows up, her husband, and then maybe her son. Everywhere the patriarchal society, they put shackles on the feet of the women, force them, dwarf their growth, so that they cannot realize their mettle, they cannot realize their credentials, they cannot realize how apt they are for things, so that they do not claim to be equal to men. For this, what does the gardener do, or what does the head of the family do? Dwarf the growth, so that she never realizes how powerful she can be. So this happens in a patriarchal society where male members are the head. And what do? Women, boys are free to do everything. Women, you are not supposed to do this, not supposed to do that. You are only supposed to look beautiful with your curlers on, but your brain, don't use your brain. So your brain is crippled. You are like a showpiece, the bonsai in the pot. Don't dare to go outside. And after doing all this, what do they expect? A loving touch from that hand, admiration from that hand, whose growth they have crippled. They expect love, they expect comfort from that hand. So what an injustice, whether it is to the bonsai tree or whether it is to the women, or it can also be suggestive of the oppressive people. It can be also symbolic of the people who are oppressed in society. So more or less it means the women, because women fit in everywhere, whether it is in the family or in the neighborhood or in the state, in the country, in the world, trying to suppress them. There had been a time. Thankfully, women have come out of that. They don't allow themselves to be dwarfed now. But this is what had been done for ages. Women burnt on the funeral pyre of their husband and making gods of them. In that case, that is a different way. Not dwarfs, but gods. Against her will, put on the funeral pyre of her husband, tied there and set fire. This is an injustice, and it was carried for ages. Whether it is abroad, it is a different way, and here in India, it was in a different way. The Sati Pratha, I am talking of that. And she is a foreign writer. In her country also, yes, maybe the injustices that had been practiced on females to stunt their growth, to stop them from realizing their full potential. The bonsai tree, what does the gardener do? He keeps on singing to the tree that this is the best place for you. You are comfortable here. You are lucky here. In the same way, the fathers must have said, the home is the best place for you, my dear daughter. Don't try to step out of doors. You know what happened to Red Riding Hood when she didn't listen to her mother's advice and the wolf came and pounced on her. Same will be with you. Stay at home. Look beautiful. Be admired. Be beautiful with your curlers on, but don't use your brain. Let your brain remain crippled. Because when you use your brain, when you want to study, there was a time when studies were restricted, not for women. If you study in Indian society, it was that, especially in the 19th century, that if a woman studies, her husband will die and she will become a widow. All these superstitions rooted in the mind, in the same way as the gardener sings to the bonsai tree, these things were put into the ears of the women. If you study, you will become a widow. Your husband will die. What stupid logic. Why? To stunt the growth, to make the woman a showpiece in the drawing room, a bonsai tree. So, tree talking of the tree on the superficial level. And the deep rooted theme, the inner meaning, is something different. It is more related to women or those who are oppressed in society. Rather, it is women, because the way it is being described as a showpiece, that means in every house there would be one or two, maybe, or maybe more. So in every house, and they are not told that you are being suppressed or you are being stunted or your growth. They are brainwashed into believing that this is the best thing, this is the right thing. And as the bonsai tree has no other option but to subdue, but to grow according to the wishes of the gardener, these girls had no choice, and they naturally succumbed to the wishes of their father or husband or their son, not allowed to grow freely to its height, to its optimum height. What a wonderful poem. It sets you thinking. Don't you think of the injustice both to the tree? You have no right to restrict the growth of a tree. It is not meant for that. You feel proud. The gardener feels proud of himself because, oh, see, I have been able to make the tree grow, make the tree grow to its full potential in a pot. Not to its full height. It has grown completely, but in a pot. I have made it a dwarf. And he must be feeling very happy with his achievement. Oh, just see. And what does he keep on crooning? These lines. It is your nature to be small and cozy, domestic and weak. So don't you think these really refer to the women in society? How women were continuously brainwashed into believing, yes, you should be domestic and weak. Remain at home and be weak. Listen to the commands of the male members of the society, of your family. How lucky little tree. Again, this is the tree. How lucky little tree to have a pot to grow in. Yes, a tree has a pot to grow in, and you have a house to live in. You don't have to roam outside the house. You don't need to go out. You are lucky. The male members are there to go out and earn money, and you are in the comfort zone of your house. This is the best place for you, safe and secure. So they were given a false notion of comfort. And there were some rebels. They understood this is not comfort, but this is like house imprisonment. And then they rose. They felt sky is the limit. And that is now, that is how society underwent a change, and now it is different. We find so many people, so many women working. She is not, her feet is not bound anymore. Feet bound so that she cannot make her mark in the outer world. With her feet bound, she would prefer to remain within her house only. It is said that, yes, if I am not mistaken, in the Japanese or Chinese, I am confusing it, it is a custom. So that the girl doesn't step out, she cannot run away and bring bad name to the family. That is why tie her feet so tightly so that it doesn't grow much. So one must, with living creatures, be it a tree or a human being or a woman, whichever it is, one must begin very early to dwarf, right from the childhood only or infancy. Try to cut them to their size, to the dwarf size rather. Don't allow them to grow to their full capacity, full potential. The hair in curlers, tell her to make herself attractive with curlers in the hair and all that. But the brain should be a crippled brain. Don't allow the brain to do much work. So that is what it was said, na, that a woman with beauty as well as brains was rare to find. If she is beautiful, she won't be having brains. They were not allowed to use their brains. Crippled brain. When you don't use something for a long time, what happens? It becomes rusty, crippled, not fit for use. But yet the hands you love to touch. So after suppressing and dwarfing the growth of a female, of a woman, yet the men, they want that they should be admired. The hand you love to touch. You love to touch the woman, you expect happiness and comfort from her. Like the gardener expects that the bonsai tree should be grateful, should admire his skill and look at the gardener with thanks. What a nice poem. So what are the things you need to know here? Like artifice. What is artifice? This must be raging in your mind. What is this word called artifice? Artifice, you can say that artifice is a trick. Yes, the gardener, he plays a clever trick so that the tree doesn't understand that it is being treated in an unjust manner. Oh, I have all my parts. I have my hand, my feet, my everything. But the growth is dwarfed. And here in the case of women, most women, they would believe, oh, it's good. We don't need to go out. Thank God, we don't need to go out. We are in the comfort zone of our homes. Why? Because they have been brainwashed into believing it, that home is the best place for women. Don't go outside. Don't use your brains. Women don't need to do brain work. Only remain attractive, as if like a showpiece, in a showcase. Make yourself attractive with the curlers on your hair. So, and then you have some words. Prune, that means to cut off, make something smaller. So the big tree, the tree which could have risen to 80 feet, it has been pruned in such a way that it has its growth. No hand or feet or any branches have been cut in a way to harm the tree. Only the growth has been stunted. So, and croons, the gardener keeps on singing to the tree, see, whatever is done is for your good. You are lucky to be in a pot. Not many trees have this fortune. You are fortunate. And crippled brain, yes, not allowing the mind to grow. The more you work mentally, the more powerful your mind becomes. Use it. The more you use it, the more powerful it will become. And if you let your mind rest, you don't allow it, your brain rest, you don't do any work, brain work, then yes, like an iron, it will rust. And bound feet, yes, they say, I said Chinese could be, but here they are saying that also Japanese. So their feet are tied so that they remain small and also attractive. But no, in China I had read that not only that, so that they are not able to walk properly or for long distance, so that they wouldn't be able to feel comfortable outside their home, and then the chance of leaving their home and running away is out of question. How thoughtful people. Only it was thoughtful for themselves, but they didn't think of the torture they were unleashing on the women by putting their feet in such pain. So now what are the themes? What could be the main idea? So the main idea, yes, the tree, bonsai tree is a metaphor. It is actually that growth, the stunting the growth of women, and the bonsai tree is being used as a metaphor to represent women, and the clever trick played by the patriarchal society on them. They don't realize. In such a way, the women were brainwashed into believing that your work is at home. Women are for home, men are for outdoor works, and women are for the housework. They are built in this way. They are meant to be at home, cooking and giving birth to children and bringing them up. That is how God has planned for them. They many times bring in God, and women are the worst enemies of women. The mother-in-law or the sister-in-laws, they will be continuously saying, oh, you are, if a woman tries to rise beyond the norms of society, what torture they had to undergo. No, this is not fit for a woman. You are not supposed to do like this. We have accepted our fate. We know that we have to live in this way. There were rebels, and that is how they were treated. So, women, right from their childhood, this is what a woman should do. A woman should not shout out loudly. A woman should not cry. A woman should not laugh loudly. A woman should not tell that I am hungry. So there is a poem in Bengali, I had read it, where everything there is a taboo. You cannot do this, you cannot do that, that is not fit for a woman. You have to grow up to be a woman. You will bring disrepute to your family if you don't. So conditioning them right from their childhood, so that they don't find it difficult. Yeah, if something is done right from the childhood, then they accept it as something normal. They don't feel that, oh, our growth is stunted or our freedom is being restricted. So what a clever trick. Whether it is the gardener or the father plays on their daughters. The fathers playing tricks on their daughters, and mothers also are an accomplice. Why? Because they have been brought up in that way. So they don't see anything wrong in that. Some mothers thoughtful, but most mothers had accepted their fate and thought that nothing different can really take place. My mother had been this, I am like this, and you will also have to be like this only. So what is wrong? If the girl tried to be a rebel, what is wrong? Rather you are wrong. So conditioning them from their childhood so that they accept it without much whim or fancy. So conditioning of women so that this is a role made by society and you have to fit into it. You will be protected. The domestic walls of the house will protect you. Outside there is always danger. Look attractive. Be presentable to your husband and family people, and continue with your domestic work. As I said, cooking, maintaining the house well, keeping the house prim and proper, giving birth to children, taking care of them, bringing them up. These are your jobs. You are not supposed to go outside and teach in schools, colleges, or do work in offices, in the police stations. But now what has happened? Everywhere a revolution has come. A revolution has taken place. In every field you will find women. So they have broken those bonsai concepts and have risen to their full potential. So women, their nature is to be small, weak, and to be domesticated like domestic animals. But these men only, the very men who are responsible for the stunted growth, whether it is physical or mental or spiritual. But then after doing this harm, they still come back to the woman only to look for comfort, to look for admiration, to have a loving touch from them. Because in their minds also they feel we haven't done anything wrong. To maintain harmony in the family, we have done all this, so that the family runs perfectly. I am doing the outside work, you are managing the home, so the family doesn't suffer. Good logic, don't you agree? So this is a short poem, and very nicely Marge Piercy has expressed her feelings for tormented women. How aptly she has compared the women to the bonsai trees growing in pots to be admired. Women with curling hair and remaining within the four walls of the house are a thing of beauty to be admired, not to be seen in the streets. So very apt comparison. The metaphor of the bonsai tree is very apt. So let's go for some MCQs regarding it. So what does the word artifice in the title of the poem, A Work of Artifice, mean? There are four options. First one means art, B trickery, C intelligence, and D none of the above. Which one do you think should be the correct answer? I'll not tell you now. I'll tell you later. You all solve and let me know the answer. Now the second one, which of these statements is not true? Which of these statements is not true? Option 1, women are themselves responsible for their plight in society. Women are themselves responsible for their plight in society. B, women are conditioned to willingly accept stereotypical roles. See, the gardener represents the stereotypical male. And D, women need to protest against their suppression. So which of these is not true? One is not true, which one? Or maybe which of these statements? So it can be more. I am not telling you the answer. Number 3, which of these attributes are not generally associated with women by men in patriarchal society? Which of these are not associated with women by men? In what type of society? Patriarchal society, where the male are the heads. In matriarchal society, the mother is the head of the house. In a patriarchal society, the father is the head. It comes from the word paternal, patriarchy, paternal. 1, intelligent, B, mentally strong, C, weak, D, attractive, 5, confident, and there are 6, capable of taking independent decisions. So which are not associated? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Intelligent. Do you think intelligent is associated with women in a patriarchal society? Mentally strong, weak, attractive, confident, and capable of taking independent decisions. So. Yeah, you will do it. I'll let you know the answers later. In the community post, I'll post it. How does the gardener feel as he addresses the bonsai tree? sad, happy, excited, happy and proud. Which one do you think is the correct option? 4. Sad, happy, excited, happy and proud. Now the 5th one. Why are women's feet bound in some cultures? Why? A. To punish women. B. To make women slaves. C. To make women realize their unimportance. D. To make them small and look attractive. So again I'll repeat: to punish women, to make women slaves, to make them realize their unimportance, to make them look small and attractive. Small like the bonsai tree. I gave a hint. The structure of the poem is A. Literal, B. Simple, C. Metaphorical and D. Circular. Which one? The tone of the speaker in the poem is condescending, amusing, entertaining, solemn. So what is the tone of the speaker? Rather, the tone of the speaker should be speaker. Who is the speaker? The tone of the speaker should be related to the tone of the poet rather. So think on it. Number 8, select the option that best suggests that the poem is talking about women. So which line suggests? A. It is your nature to be small and cozy. The best option you'll have to select. The crippled brain, the hair in curlers. The hands you love to touch. The bonsai tree in the attractive pot. So which one do you think suits best to suggest that the poem is about women? What is the theme of the poem? Select the correct option. A. Men are oppressive. Social standards are used to prevent women from flourishing to their full potential. C. Women are conditioned to feel happy in being small and weak. And D. Women must protest against their stereotypical role in society. So what is the theme? And D. Which of these figures of speech is extensively used in the poem? A. Personification, B. Metaphor, C. Simile and D. Alliteration. So which one do you think has been used extensively in the poem? I am not giving the answers now. You can wait in the community post to check them. So for the time being, I'll bid you goodbye. But yes, if you have liked it, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you have not subscribed up till now. I don't know, suddenly the subscriber rate is not as it was in the past, and I can't understand the reason. While this is a new syllabus and I am working on it very seriously to bring you something worth reading, to help you to prepare for your exams. Because of the new syllabus, all of you must be feeling where to go, which channel to go, how to get the material to study, and I am working on it to help you out. Please, please, please subscribe to my channel, and yes, share it with your friends. Many of my online students tell, ma'am, we have told our friends to share. So yes, you all also please do. And for the time being, Ranjana ma'am bids you goodbye. Have a nice time.